Nicotine has a PR problem. Smoke from cigarettes has thousands of toxins, but the actual nicotine itself is a stimulant that could actually be helpful. Let's look at, is Zyn a sin? My name is Casey, and I've been a therapist for more than 10 years, a husband and a father for more than 11, and I have started this channel to try to promote a future of faith, fatherhood, and freedom in America, and that is why we need to talk about nicotine and whether it is in fact the satanic ritual that all the magazines have been telling us it is.
And certainly a lot of people, in particular young males, are using it more often. The traditional media is now trying to create this kind of picture of nicotine being part of the kind of wellness and fitness community, but in my observation, many more people outside of that category are using it.
There's been lots of articles that have come out over recent months that is attacking Zyn as a right-wing, or nicotine pouches in general, as a right-wing phenomenon, and that it is something that has to do with the hierarchy, the patriarchy, the MAGA chuds, and ultimately it has been disparaged because it isn't weed. It isn't going to make you sleepy and exhausted and just easy to govern, and so possibly there are forces working against Zyn or against nicotine pouches and nicotine in general, but is it valid? Is there a valid use for sin, and is it in fact sinful for a man like me, a Christian man, to use it over the course of my life? Well, I am an avid user, and yes, for me it is a sin because I use it too much. But quite frankly, for the recreational person, it could be an actual way to stimulate your brain in conjunction with caffeine and give you an edge.
Starts dabbling in nicotine use, and let's assume they're going to do this in ways that do not cause cancer, because the smoking, dipping, vaping, snuffing part is what causes the cancer. Let's just talk about the compound nicotine.
Yeah, so there's some well-done research showing nicotine is helpful for improving some of the executive functions, sustained attention, and I'm not sure which of the executive functions, but they help people focus, be sharper, do better.
Zyn or other nicotine pouches stimulates dopamine pathways in the brain, which has made it somewhat earmarked for use for things like dementia or other dopamine deficient diseases later in life. It obviously gives us more energy, it can enhance your working memory, and it reduces risks of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, which, if you have a Parkinson patient who's an older folk, maybe slapping a nicotine patch on them would actually have helped them produce the dopamine necessary to attach short-term to long-term memory and be able to be a little bit more lucid for themselves, and their families.
PhD. And they abandoned several years ago, and I haven't been able to find word as to why that was abandoned, whether there was some other side effect. It's worth throwing out there that although nicotine in many ways acts like a stimulant, it actually is moderately unique. And I hate people who unique means one of a kind, so I can't modify it in any way. Unusual, maybe not the only one, unusual in that it both arouses people and reduces anxiety simultaneously.
Of course, on the sin front, your body is a temple, and anything that you put into it in an addictive way, in a persistent way, could be considered something that you would need to go before God and try to figure out whether or not it was something that was actually uplifting to you. However, nicotine in and of itself is not necessarily sinful, just like alcohol is used quite frequently in the Bible. So too could you use nicotine in a way that wasn't necessarily addictive, wasn't necessarily harming anyone, and wasn't necessarily inherently sinful. If you use it too persistently, it starts to tear up your teeth and your gums, it lowers your life expectancy, then yes, of course, that's something that God wouldn't be proud of you doing.
Is this the best a man can get?
Don't let the culture dissuade you from using something that might actually promote your ability to show up for yourself, your jobs, your employment, and the ones you love. And don't let all these articles that have run through the discourse in the last year dissuade you from using Zyn. It is not inherently a sin. And yes, being enslaved to anything is, but this chemical substance is one that should be permitted in that it is actually giving you energy when there are so many over-the-counter substances, and now cannabis being legal in so many places, that do not help you function as an adult man. And actually, nicotine can enhance your testosterone, your availability to be strong and fervent, and yes, even use your godly, righteous anger for the correct purposes. And so let's participate all in attempting to use nicotine responsibly, but understanding that it is not going to be the same processes in your body as smoking a cigarette is, and it might actually enhance your ability to show up godly man for what you need to do and who you want to be.